I'm on a mission. I'm trying to get to this money, yeah. I'm trying to get to them riches. I try to get you my heart, cause I thought that you would.
Yo, what's going on out there, world? It's Cien, checking in with the Vibrations podcast, and I got some very elite guests with me today, and I like to let my guests introduce themselves. So y'all go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on? I'm Sharnice,
And I'm Byron.
and we make up the Mobile Home Elite Investors. So we're full-time mobile home investors. We've been doing this now since January 2018, so going on about 2.5 years. Yeah, we also, outside of the investment piece, we also teach this. So we teach it to investors across the country on how they can get started as well.
Right, and I just I found it real, unique, and I just wanted my audience to get a better understanding of it. So I wanted to ask, like, how did y'all even get started with this? Like.
Yeah. So, man, for myself, I have been wanting to get in real estate, man, since 2014. And to make a long story short, I had got close to pretty much, I got close to closing on the building on 79th in Ridgeland here in Chicago. And, man, the day before closing, the basement flooded. So, I was kind of, devastated, go back to work. The next day I was fired. So that kind of just like for myself was just like, yo, what's, this is me getting a mortgage. What I'm going to do now? And at the time I became an entrepreneur. I kind of dibbled and dabbled in a few things, just trying to get, find out what can I do? But real estate was always in the back of my mind. Me and Sharnice went to some first-time home buying classes, and to fast forward, I was driving Lyft, and I used to always, I'm sorry, I apologize. I had getting phone calls coming, but I always was trying to be in real estate. I just didn't know how. And I remember finding it was a Bigger Pockets podcast on mobile home investing, but the passenger said they didn't want to listen to it, so I sent it over to Sharnice.
Yeah, so he sent me that podcast, and honestly, that was our situation at the time. We didn't really have a lot of capital. We didn't have good credit to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to take out a loan to get this single-family home or this multi-unit, but we knew we can go to a bank and get like 10, 20,000, just very easy to go ahead and invest in mobile homes. So that's what we ended up doing.
And then it just started taking off from there.
Yeah, it just started taking off.
Okay. So like, say somebody, around my age, young, 19, 20, and they wanted to get started, they could just, I heard that you don't really need like any licensing or anything like that. Like you could just hop right into it.
Yeah, so definitely, you can definitely, it's not a real estate license needed or so, especially here in Illinois. Now there is, for example, they have a certain amount of mobile homes that you can get in your name within a title and flip per year. But, we have our neighboring state of Indiana. And so we always tell people, just do your research in your state to see how many mobile home deals you can do per year, per calendar year. But the reality is no one really policing it, but you still just want to kind of be, saying in court. It's like in Illinois, we can do 5 before they want us to get a license to do it.
Okay. So man, like when y'all first got started, so how long did it take for y'all to get to this point, like of the, starting the mobile home elite investor, with the courses and all of that? So like, did you start, did you purchase your first mobile home prior to January 2018 or?
Yeah, so no, we didn't really, it took us about 3 months of us like getting in the field, driving to different states, driving to different mobile home parks before we actually acquired that first deal.
Okay.
So once we did acquire it, we ended up flipping both of those first deals. We brought our first 2 mobile homes for $4,300, and we ended up flipping them for $19,500. So we ended up making, a substantial amount of money in the beginning for us to go ahead and just keep reinvesting. So we kept, reinvesting, kept doing the same strategies. And then, we really just sat down one day and was like, hey, like, we need to teach this. Like, we need to teach this to our people because we got young people like you. We got people our age. We got people older that, are struggling. They have the same struggles that we had when we were working 9 to 5s or, just looking for that additional passive income. And that's, really why we started Mobile Home Elite Investors. And we just kept building. It just really just kept branding ourselves and just putting ourselves out there.
Right, that's amazing, and that's what I really I'm glad y'all said that, because it's other ways to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more ways than just to rap or hoop or something like that. So that's really what I want y'all to talk about. So so like what's the mission for Mobile Home Elite Investors? Like I think you kind of said it already, but like what was y'all main mission? Starting this.
Yeah, so really to give people a way, we remember when we was down, right? We remember that, we didn't necessarily have the funds, we didn't have the best credit at the time. And this was really a way for people to get started in real estate or get started in investing in a different way. And just to talk about the larger mission, we want to become the largest African American mobile home investors in America. We see the opportunity we see right now is going on in our city. And unfortunately, I think that if it's a part where you're talking about a gentrification, now, if we have more ownership outside of cities and rural communities, now we're able to actually move people and have places where people have affordability without being pushed out of the city and not having nothing or have to settle for what Section 8 gives them. So that's the real larger picture. Is just the ownership piece, having in America.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So so like I want to talk about like because it's obviously not easy, like this whole journey that y'all been on. So like I wanted y'all to give us like how the grind was, like how y'all mindsets was going through like getting your first closing on your first mobile home and things of that nature. Like what type of mindset did y'all have going into that?
Yeah, so one thing you definitely got to change your mindset to have the investor mindset. So, like for myself, I was working the 9 to 5, so that's all I knew. All I knew was to go get a job. I'm gonna stay at this job, and I'm gonna come home, and that's it. But I didn't know the grind that you really have to put into a business, because what happens is that once people first start at something, something that they're trying to invest in, if it doesn't work within like the first 2 to 3 weeks, most people give up. They're like, look, I didn't grind it. I didn't do what I need to do. It's not working. It ain't worked in this first month, so I'm going to give up. But what we did was that, we didn't give up. We got a lot of no's in the beginning. I was on the phone. Byron was on the phone. We were calling a lot of mobile home parks, and a lot of people was pushing us away. And that could have discouraged us. But instead of discouraging us, it actually encouraged us to continue to be like, okay, I'm going to keep putting myself out here. And eventually, like we talked about earlier, we went to so many mobile home parks in the beginning, and we called so many mobile home parks, and we just continued to put ourselves out there until we just so happened to come across those great deals.
Okay. So yeah, now I kind of want to talk about y'all the Instagram. So like on social media, how do you all like advertise, and how do y'all utilize social media to y'all advantage?
Yeah, so I mean, you think about Instagram as one of those platforms. Somebody told me a long time ago, they say Instagram is pretty much like your storefront. Facebook is like your store, and Instagram, the stories, and YouTube is kind of like the behind the scenes where you allow people to. So really the Facebook, the Instagram, we were blessed to find larger platforms to find out what we was doing when we had, like, let's say 3,000 followers. And, I think that we utilized some tools at the beginning that helped us, that I think now that they unfortunately shut it down, but we would target like-minded audiences, and we would start following those people, and some people will follow us back. So if I followed 100 people, we were likely to go get, an extra 10 to 20 followers from that. So we just kept that up. And then, once that momentum started hitting, those larger platforms with 50,000 plus 100,000, they start seeing us. Some days we would get influxes of 5,000 followers in one day. We'll get 2,000 followers and things like that. And then we understood Sharnice led the way on just putting the valuable content out there. It just the consistency of it.
That's what I was gonna hop in and say. It's really the consistency. Like when we first started, we kind of scaled back a little bit now, but when we first started, I was posting sometimes 3-4 times a day. So just continuing to put the information out there. And then like Byron talked about, it's going to be larger platforms that has 50K, 100K followers. So most of them, they offer advertising fees. So they offer influencer fees where you can literally just go click the link in their bio. And some I've seen as low as $20. Some it may be a little bit expensive depending on how many followers they have. It might be $100. But now you're putting out the information in front of 100,000 people that, all they're doing is following. Yeah.
Okay. Was y'all like how I had to reach out to y'all? You know, was y'all doing a lot of networking and DMing and stuff like that too?
Yeah. When we first started, we literally, whoever follow us, we would send them immediately. We'll send them something like, hey, check out, sign up for our free webinar.
Yeah, DM marketing is key.
Yeah.
That's going to be key because that's you really reaching the people because you never know, somebody that's reaching out to you, they may be connected to now another influencer that has those followers that you're looking for. And, that might be an open-ended connection. So, yeah, DM marketing is key.
Yeah. So so I seen like a minute ago well now it's like a minute ago y'all had went over to Egypt before all this Corona and crazy stuff like that. Can y'all talk about that trip? How was that trip?
Oh man, it was eye opener.
Yeah.
It was one of those where this, to be in Egypt, you see the pictures, you see the pyramids, but then to really see how it's still a third world country, and it made us really feel blessed on, I don't care if I was on, the worst part of Inglewood, it still looked better than Egypt at some of their parts, you know what I'm saying? And understanding that we even as Black Americans, we still are blessed. They look at us as legit kings and queens, like we the cream of the crop when it comes to Black people in the world. Whereas our country may minimize that, but you go anywhere in the world, you as a Black American holds power. Like literally, if something was to happen to us in Egypt, our government is still gonna go over there and make sure we get back because the government can't seem like no punks to the rest of the world. So you really understand the true value. And then the Egyptians, like we had some people pull us to the side, like y'all Nubian. Like y'all the kings and queens, and we like, wow, like
it was a powerful trip. Like you said, it was very eye opening. Like even with everything that's going on, and I think I told Byron earlier because we was watching a movie yesterday, and I forgot where they were, but
India.
They were in India, right? But it looked so similar to how Egypt looks, like where we were at in Egypt. And I was telling him, like, it just continues to make us blessed despite everything that's going on in our neighborhoods right now in the inner city and just with all this coronavirus and everything. It just makes us blessed because those people over there, they have nothing, like they have nothing. And it's like for us to just still be blessed to have access to food and water. Even if we have to drive further out, we still have access to it, where it's like over there a lot of stuff is very limited. So it makes you very blessed.
So it just really gave y'all a whole different outlook on things.
Definitely.
So also like earlier you had mentioned like podcasts, like I noticed that y'all was on the Millionaire Mindset podcast. So like I was gonna ask like how do you think podcasts in y'all industry, how do they work? Like do you think it's a key component in like y'all success, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. Sure. I think it's definitely getting the word out. Like even what you're doing right now, having us on and educating your audience on something they may have heard or they may have never heard about. I think that's a key thing because we all got different like learning styles, and then some people they need that audio, or some people need the visual. And so I think that we just blessed to have people reach out to us, and a lot of those podcasts, that's how honestly. Podcast is what shifted my mindset to be like, what, I really want to be an entrepreneur. It gave me confidence because week after week, day after day, I was hearing nothing but different entrepreneurs I was hearing. And so that right there, it's podcast gonna live on forever. Like you listen to the radio, I listen to WGCI, I may hear one thing, but I can't necessarily go back and try to find that. Right. Whereas, your content is gonna last forever. So I think it's very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially since like I know that's really why I started this one. Like I never really saw a lot of people that's around my age or even a lot of Black podcasters. So I kind of wanted to create that platform that what I'm saying. Yeah. So so like y'all very, very successful, and I'm sure y'all only gonna start getting bigger. But to this point now, what do you really attribute your success to?
Man. So I would say one, consistency and just being authentic, being real with people.
Being
Like
ourselves, not really changing, really sticking to what our mission is, like the thing Byron talked about earlier as far as our mission, just really sticking to that and not forgetting it. I think sometimes people go outside of what their initial mission is, but I feel like if you stick to it, then, you know what I'm saying, you never know what that success rate is going to be.
All right. So now that we starting to wind down to the end, if you had one piece of advice for somebody starting out in mobile home, that say they just bought your course or, they want to start investing to themselves, what would you get them, to so they don't make the same mistakes or anything that you made, first starting out?
Yeah, so starting out, I mean, like you said, if they bought our course, the good thing is they already invested in themselves. And it's really just take the step by step. Don't try to figure it out yourself. Don't try to do a whole new strat. I mean, you can, but
don't overthink it.
You're right.
Don't overthink it. And I would say be patient. We have students now and they're so excited and they get so excited about one deal and that one deal may not work out. So that's why we always say just really be patient and don't be afraid to continue to put yourself out there. You got to fail forward. So if that one deal doesn't work out, just know that it's thousands of other deals out there. So just kind of, make sure that you keep on that clear mindset of forwardness.
Right, mindset. So that's really just everything is mindset, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's really all I had questions wise, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for coming out again,
Yeah, family, sure, man.
Right,
you can't,
family, right. Anytime. Make time for you.
Yeah, so yo, it's Cien again, man. Thanks for tuning in to the Vibrations Podcast. Appreciate all the support and all the love. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like the video, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're listening on any podcast platform, be sure to share on social media and tag the Vibrations Podcast and send it to about 10 people. Send it to your mom, your dad, your uncle, your granny, your baby mama. Send it to everybody and let them raise their vibrations. I got more on the way. And all I can say is go.